So in this video, we're going to continue with some of our close guard setups for submissions and sweeps. With this one, we're going to look at trying to do it on someone who's a little bit more aware. So he's going to defend against our first element attack, and then we're going to chain together another submission attempt to show you how we position ourselves correctly as we're trying to do a potential submission. And if you do position yourself correctly, how you can just do small movements into other furthermore attacks to help have combinations, which is going to up your chance of some success. So we really must have success when we're on our backs with either a sweep or submission, particularly in MMA, because hey, you're underneath, and if you're not being proactive, they're going to be proactive on you, and that could mean cuts, it could be knockout, and it could also mean submission on you. And if you survive any of those things, you're going to be losing on the Georgia scorecard, and that's not good. So let's have a little look here. So he's going to have strong posture. I'm holding the wrists, I bridge, we know all this now. I put his arms out, I hold his back, he has to reposition his arms, I slide down to his wrist. Look how I put my body, this is so important we do that. I slide my hips out, I come up, and now I'm going into my fixed piece position. Going into my fixed piece position. Now, if he bases his arm out to defend the sweep one, then I'm going to go hammerlock for step two. But as I do this, he can't stop me pushing his wrist behind his elbow, but he can keep his arm quite straight. So I haven't been able to cut the arm in. So as I'm trying to fight with this battle, I might get a little kink in his arm. And as I begin to go back to my closed guard, you're going to end up here. Well, whenever the arm's straight, okay, that's fine. He's defending the bent arm attack of that kimura. So what I'm going to do is keep that elbow elevated away from his body, so I'll go to a palm grab. I'm going to put it all the way over to the side of my head, and you know I talk about like a crab's claw. I'm now crab clawing with my ear against my shoulders, control that wrist, and I've got the elbow. So now I'm going to slide my hips out. Remember how we slide our hips out? I use the back of my thighs on the front of his thighs and hips. I'm going to slide my hips out. I'll come over, and I have choices here. I'm going to come over his face. Now, it really depends on what he does here. If I go across his face and he starts to rise up, I put my leg over and I do the submission off my back. But I can force his head up as well. So look how I put my arm across one. And if I want to force that head up, I'm going to step up two. But look at the way I've got my foot. I begin to slide my foot up onto his hip. I've got my knees together and we begin to elevate up like so. But I've connected everything in. I'm on his hip. I've connected my knee and I put the thumb up. And it's a really nasty submission because you've got control of his posture through his elbow being tracked down. I've got weight on his arm and he can't do a forward roll either because I've trapped him in a fashion where his head's pinned up. I'm stepping on his hip. I've connected everything so that my leg is not weak for him to pin down, because quite often they'll grab your toes here. Yeah, so when he goes to grab my toes, if he grabs my toes now, it's not going to have any effect because I blocked it with my leg. And I simply put the thumb up and away and I drive my hips up using that foot. Just have a little look. So I'm here, bridge. Puts his arm out, I go for the kimura, and he starts really trying to straighten that arm. I keep it, bring it round, trap, come over his head, I get the hips out, put my foot all the way over, bring my foot to the hip, connect, and I start rising up.